In a world full of idiots and undercovers, two guys try to describe entire society using two terms, Zoomer and Boomer. You wanna experience it? You wanna see it? You wanna live with it? So take a look at this podcast of SWPS University.
Hey folks, welcome to English podcast. How you doing? I'm here with my colleague Maciek.
You sound so livable, really. I'd like to hear you. I'd like to hear you for like 5 hours straight.
Okay, let's go. Tell me more. All right, so what we're gonna do today, we're gonna take a look on the social groups, but not really like the family, the colleagues from under the market or something. We're gonna look on the generations, like generation X, Y, Z. So we know all that there are a couple of the generation that are very, very specific. They have their individual way of living. Maybe you heard the term, for example, boomer. About boomers, the Maciej will tell us more. I'm looking forward to it, really. That's gonna be good. I promise you. Okay, so the boomer just in a conclusion, I guess, is like, you know, all the depressed guys that like baby boomer generation born after WW2 or World War II. Yeah, I guess. And they really, I think they failed to recognize that the world has changed since then. What can you say, Maciej?
No, I can say that you offend me a bit. I'm mentally partly a boomer. If it comes to music, I think. Because if it comes to music, there's nothing good like good old school rock and roll, you know. The Scorpions, Metallica, and all this stuff. Really, I can't stand your little peep. This is not music. Back in the day, music made sense. Today, music does not make sense. You know, in 90s and 80s, music was really senseful, reasonable. You know, remember, boom, 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 I want you in my room. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, boomer is the person born between 1946 and 1964, as a definition. But honestly, this is each person that hasn't noticed that the world has changed since like 80s or 70s. And for example, even 35-year-old guy can be a boomer if he says things like, for example, this 14-year-old girl should not be doing snapshots. She should be learning in home and thinking only about, I don't know, Radio Maria and all that stuff. Basically, boomers are the people that the point of view is that everything should be the way it was in 80s or 90s. So this is quite... Yeah. This causes conflict between the current generation and the previous generations. But I think, honestly speaking, it's a conflict that has been in the air for, like, always. Honestly speaking, even if it comes to cavemen 10,000 years ago, there was a generation of cavemen that used to say, for example, oh, back in my day, we used only bones to kill a mammoth. And you know, now we can use some tools like, you know, spear. Oh my God, good old school bone to kill mammoths. That was the thing. So honestly speaking, conflict between boomer and zoomer is eternal as long as world exists.
Yeah, and don't you think that someday all of us are gonna become boomers?
Yes, in like 40 years from now, we will be boomers ourselves. However, we will be called zoomers. And what will be the name of the generation after us and the next after it? I don't know. Gen B, Gen A, something like that. Maybe we will repeat all the entire alphabet. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe generation A1 or XY, X1 or WA. Don't know. That time will tell. Yeah, but in really short words, those are the boomers. So the guys that live in the past, and the another one, I would say the doomer. Oh, the doomer is a pretty long and depressing story, because like the depression is the main theme of the doomers. I mean, there is no really sense of living. There is not really a sense of going forward, because all the things doesn't really matter. I mean, why should I try if I fail anyway, right? Well, I think the doomers are the kind of the guys that just lost the hope, because we have many people that are very, very self-confident. They want to try. Those are called go-getter, if I'm not mistaken. But the doomers are the guys that just lost it. They just want to stay depressed, I guess. Do you have?
Yeah, because actually zoomers and doomers, I mean, it's often the same person. These terms connect with each other due to the fact that, as is being told in the internet, also by people of this generation, of even my colleagues from like everyday life, it's been told by my friends, by my colleagues from college, by my some acquaintances from job. I've seen a lot of examples that people my age, they say that they are depressed, they have no will to live. I don't know where it came from, due to by looking on the fact that their living standard is higher than ever, but maybe it's due to I've seen a video where the author says that we are getting doomered, at least a few of us, due to the fact we have a biggest amount of information we've ever had, and that may cause some sad and unpleasant thoughts that may make us like depressed or sad. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, I think, but that also we're living in the pretty depression can be times. I guess it's not really optimistic, if I would be honest, and I think those people just can't take it. They are maybe not used to this kind of situation, so. Maybe those are the zoomers that after the hope, after they lost it, they become a doomer, I guess.
I think it also might be true, but maybe like 40 years ago, when someone was about to be a doomer or was a doomer, no one knew about that, honestly, because there was no internet to share your thoughts. And let's face facts, contact between parents and children was not that good as today. So if someone was a doomer in the 80s, I mean, no one really knew about it. Maybe the only doomer that was known in Poland was Wiśniewski. Yeah, he was a doomer since the very beginning of his life till the very end. May he rest in peace.
That was...
But that guy, if there was like a textbook of pop cultures or subcultures and all this stuff, if there was a chapter called Doomers, it should be his very photo as a cover of this chapter, I think. So I think Doomers has always existed, but the issue of sharing their thoughts with friends or with parents was way more worse than today. And we didn't know, I mean, not me, because I wasn't even born back then, and we didn't even know that this particular person is depressed or is doomer, because honestly speaking, depression has existed for always, but we didn't pay that much attention to that before, I think.
True.
So doomers, just like zoomers and boomers, I mean, that's the interesting issue, because we named these groups only a few years ago, or 50 or 60 years ago. However, these groups exist always in really different manners, in different ways, with a different appearance. 100 years ago, 300, 1,000 years ago, but they existed just they exist today, but in a bit different way than today.
Yeah, and that the way back there wasn't any internet, and I guess the internet is a big part of the human depression nowadays.
Especially when you watch Logan Paul.
Yeah, yeah. But coming back to the subject, for example, when you have all this depression,
going down with me. Sorry, I had to.
Yeah, and for example, when you just push yourself to get these likes, these subscribers on YouTube, all these kind of social media. And now we have also TikTok.
Ooh.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot of stuff for the young people.
TikTok is the very very thing that makes us depression, but not by the users, but by the viewers. Because I mean, if there is something I'm not fond of, it should be illegalized, but TikTok should be illegalized.
Yeah, I guess I think there were many articles that the TikTok actually caused death. This is pretty depressing, I guess.
Oh, actually, I saw it on my feed like 30 minutes before we started recording that 16-year-old girl is dead. A moment before death, she was recording a TikTok, and the first comment, she died due to recording a TikTok. Maybe that's true. I don't know.
Yeah, but do you remember all these kind of the challenges? They were, I think, the origins are actually a good causes. For example, this ice bucket challenge, it was promoting some kind of action against maybe a cancer, I think. And those are...
No, ice bucket challenge was against the ALS.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah.
I mean, does your memory work like 3 days back?
I know it was 2014, but that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, so all these challenges starting, it wasn't really alarming, I guess. But from time to time, those are becoming the more stupid and more.
I mean, we started with some really like maybe innocent challenges. Maybe they developed a bit like extreme. I don't know if that's a good term. For example, we developed Ice Bucket Challenge, which was very helpful to the world and contributed to wisdom about ALS. But a moment after that, we decided that if we reach the highest level of like honesty, of being a good person, of being helpful, it's time to hit some really dumb.
Yeah, actually.
Jumping through the piked fence, or I don't know, like jumping through the moving car and all that stuff. I don't know. I don't mean the jumping is like dangerous and stuff like that, but in some cases it is indeed. But you know what I mean.
Maciej, let's stop being easy. Just for example, what you say for a shit yourself challenge, because I think the history also showed that this is possible.
Oh, sounds very pleasant to me.
Yeah,
or maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, if there was a TikTok in the 50s, I think Americans would have created, shoot the Stalin challenge. I don't know, but there was no TikTok back in the day.
And it was pretty hard challenge, gotta say. Yeah, so really, I mean, we're all talking about this kind of young generation, and this is so-called Generation Z, which is said to be being born late 90s and early 20s, 2000s, I guess. And they follow the millennials, which are the Generation Y. So the stuff, the social media like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and so on, they're pretty familiar. Actually, I think they are raised on it. Don't you think?
I mean, Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff is the very natural thing for Generation Z due to the fact it's been created a very little while after they were born, after I was born, after you were born. And that's why we got used to that. I mean, an issue like Facebook is completely natural for me. Like, since I was like 8 years old, I heard about Facebook and all that stuff. So that's not really shocking for me. But let's imagine, I was born in 1948. So, and while being around my 60s, I am hearing about some, thing called Facebook that allows you to talk to someone from Australia while you are in, I don't know, Tanzania. And it's like,
how the fuck is this possible, man? I should be knowing only on my neighbors and family, no one else. How am I supposed to know someone from the other part of the world?
Yeah.
But that's the very same issue that has been forever and forever. It's about all the maybe not like inventions, new issues that have been created, because every time something new gets born to this planet, if it comes to invention, it is shocking for some time, and people of older date cannot use it and see it like dangerous. For example, when in 19th century, when trains were created, people being 60 or 70 were afraid of that it's too speed, that this speed may kill them and all that stuff. So I think that Facebook will be something unpleasant and alien-like for older people, due to the fact that everything modern that happens, that gets born, is in the very beginning unfamiliar for older people. That's why we Gen Z, how do we pronounce it?
The what?
Gen Zs or Gen Zs? How do we pronounce it? I'm not sure about it.
With Gen Z, I guess.
Okay.
No idea.
I guess so. I'm not native, so I don't know. So, I mean, for us Gen Zs, Facebook and all this stuff is pretty normal. But let's wait like 50 years from now. I don't know what happens in 50 years. I guess Konowicz will still be recording, and Xi Jinping still be the president of China, just like Lukashenko will be president of Belarus. However, I think that in my 70s, there will be a shitload of stuff I won't be able to use due to the fact I'll be 70 and I'll be afraid of that.
Yeah, or imagine the amount of stuff that you will be hating.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be saying like, back in my day, there was Lil Peep and XXXTentacion. That was a music with a meaning.
Yeah, so because of it, I think that we can come to the conclusion that actually what is driving the boomers is the power of nostalgia.
Yes, idyllic describing the past, and due to the memory, tends to create some, blank spaces. Due to the fact that something was really long ago, they idealize, they make it idyllic. They say about the past that it was like perfect term in the living of planet. I mean, entire planet was beautiful, full of flowers. I know, shiny, happy people like R.E.M. used to sing. I mean, this is a song about mentally ill people, not shiny and happy, but you know what I mean. The point is, we always cause nostalgia. We are always nostalgic about the past, especially about the time of childhood. Due to the fact it was long ago, we don't remember it, and it was way smoother for us because we didn't have to pay taxes, we didn't have to go to work, we didn't have to learn that much, we didn't have to watch TikTok. That's why we remember it nostalgic way, and we say it was a perfect time of the world. But however, let's face facts. Nostalgia about childhood is something pretty normal and pretty common in a generation that is now a bit older. I think that, let's take a look at this insane fact that people born around 1939 or 1937 in Poland, when their childhood was a time of World War II.
Well, struggling to survive, I guess, struggling to buy anything. And actually living under the cloud of the big depression and being threatened of their life.
Constant bombarding. For example, let's take a look at people born in 1948 or 1949 or in the first half of 50s in the Soviet Union, now Russia and all that. I'm thinking that these people, which had their childhood in times of Joseph Stalin, they would say that it was a perfect idyllic time. The food, if they only had it, was way better and tastier than today, and people were so helpful and nice to each other. But then you realize it was the times of Joseph Stalin that would kill even a single child that wouldn't bow to him because he stepped 80 meters from it. So, saying about the past, especially about our childhood, in an idyllic, nostalgic way, is very common thing for each generation, no matter what period of history this person lives in.
Yeah, and I think the source of the conflict is behind the boomer and zoomer is because the boomers have the comparison, because they already have lived
I think
in
they have
the...
a fake comparison or like, imaginate comparison. I mean, I have to be honest, I haven't been living that long like a typical 60-year-old guy. However, I'm sure that many of the stuff they're saying about their past has been imagined due to the fact they don't remember everything perfectly, because it's a human nature not to remember everything perfectly. People who remember everything perfectly are like genius or something like this. So my point is that they have a fake imagination about the comparison between our and their times of childhood. That's the problem and issue of all quarrels and fights in the internet among younger and older generation, I think.
Yes, and I think now we have a field to actually think about how the Zoomers will become the boomers in their future. I mean, what will be the difference from actually how we are gonna behave as a boomers, right? So,
First thing is that the term will remain the same. In 2065, I'll still be a Zoomer due to the time period I was born in. Because being Boomer is not about being 60 now, it's about being born in 60s or early 70s. I know it's outside the definition that you are a Boomer while being born the first half of 70s, but you know what I mean. And I'll be Zoomer even if I'm 68 years old due to the fact that I was born in 1998. So I'll still be Zoomer. That's first thing. Second thing is that I think we'll be the same, but we're gonna struggle with different things, with different ways of modernity, with different ways of current in the future issues of the planet. For example, I don't know, in 2068, when I'm 70 years old, I'll be complaining about, for example, I know these flying hoverboards or flying cars or like holographic musicians. And for example, that I'll be glorifying that back in my day, maybe typical rapper looked like 6ix9ine, maybe he looked like some kind of weirdo, but created a good, real music. And now these days, holographic rappers, they only create these like... And back in my day, the music was way better. I mean, the first thing we have to think about is what the future would look like. So I don't know what I will be complaining about, but I think there will be a lot of stuff like this, especially by looking at the fact that I'm partially a boomer today. But only in some spheres, only in some zones, not in all. I'm like connection, a pure mix between Zoomer and a Doomer. Like, maybe not a 50-50. No, I'm like
70-30.
60% Zoomer, 40% Boomer, because
right.
I'm not gonna lie, I really appreciate the technological goods we have now. However, I really disdain the music we have today. Maybe you can call me okay Boomer, you can call me hey oldie go to grave or something like that. However, that's my opinion.
How many bitcoins have you stored?
Bitcoins are a creation of Satan. Back in my day, money had a value, and now this cryptocurrency take this away from me. The money should be only in paper. I even don't use a payment card or credit card, because the money should be in paper. Hand. I don't even have a bank account. I buy everything by cash.
Yeah, those are pretty boomer stuff to say.
No, I don't. Come on. We have to be dumb to do this in 2021.
Yeah. And you mentioned music. I mean, this is not really that if we, for example, have the greatest times of our lives during, for example, some old school tracks. Like for example, give me some good examples of these really OG tracks.
OG tracks, maybe like rock you like a hurricane,
yeah,
Living
Here
on
I
a
Am.
Prayer, Jump by by Van Halen, I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight. I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight. Owner of a Lonely Heart. I can keep on.
Yeah. But I think that our listeners are already have the idea, the picture. So
By the way,
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, but
Go with the flow.
look, the main issue is me, for example. I don't like, let's say, modern music. Like as I previously mentioned, 6ix9ine or XXXTentacion, may he rest in peace. However, I'm like 200% sure that in my future days, when I get like 70, I'll be remembering this music as like beautiful and idyllic due to the fact it was in a time of my youth.
Yeah.
For example,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for all listeners that are not Polish. In 2015 in Poland, we had this, let's say, rap group. I don't know if this was a rap or
Gangster rap group. They are, like
experimental
bragging how much
rap
money
group
they
called
have.
Albanian Gang. And their music was pretty shit for me because it was like 100% 2015 creation, 100% typical Zoomer music. However, even now I remember this good because it was in the past when times was a bit smoother for me. I didn't have to work yet. I didn't have to pay taxes and all that stuff. That's why I think that in 50 years from now, I'll remember this completely shitty music as the most beautiful music I've ever heard. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, and this is the power of this music. I mean, they are like getting connected with the memories you have, right?
Yeah.
So if you just hear it for some just a part, for example, you can get like the flow of the memories that go through you, remembering the time that you, for example, spent hearing the music for the first time. This is really interesting.
Yes, I highly recommend Gang Albanii on YouTube. In 2015, we all of us head to Gang Albania. I really recommend it, especially if someone's from Albania. No, don't listen to it, please.
Yeah. So the point I was trying to make for like 10 minutes was actually like so you know the songs that were playing in the radio during your youth, and do you listen to the radio, to the pop songs nowadays? Back in the day, we have the Michael Jackson, we have all these. Yeah, so all these great artists who really put the effort to make a good music, being full of the very nice sounds, like complex rhymes and the tunes. And now, getting back to the tunes, we have the auto-tune, which is not really great effort.
Auto-tune is a very common issue now, but if it comes to like repairing someone's wacky voice in a studio, this technology has existed for years, I think. However, back in the day, we didn't have that developed technologically conditions to create, repairing someone's voice in the studio. That's why I think, but that's only my opinion, and you can call me the most boomer in the entire planet of Boomerville. But I think that back in the day, you needed bigger, maybe not a talent, but you had to sit in front of that a bit longer to create the tune good. However, I'm aware of the fact that music, back then in good old days, was not always that efficient and, professional as we used to remember it. There was a lot of dumb songs in the 80s or in 90s or even in 70s that we remember today as, timeless and eternal classics we have. Because, come on, this tune, Popcorn, from the beginning of 70s,
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, isn't it that hard to play this? Was it that hard to create that? No, I don't think so. Or mentioned earlier by me, this boom, 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 I want you in my room. Is this ambitious song? She says, boom, 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 I want you in my room. So you could, come across a dump music 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and even today. And it'll be option for you even in 20 years from now. Dump music has existed since the very beginning of time, and
So this shows that we can't really generalize in both ways. Not looking as a zoomer on a doomer and not on the doomer on the zoomers. But I think that the source of the conflict is actually that both groups are actually very, aggressive to each other because of the terms they were living. For example, I guess that the Zoomers are mad at the Boomers for the state of the world, right? Mm-hmm. Because they were living before, and the cause of their depression, the really bad times that we are living at the moment, is caused by the Boomers, or maybe that the Boomers were living during the nice times, right? When they
As
were
they think it was nice time.
Yeah. It's very very personal view on the situation. So those are a lot of factors. But getting back to the music for 1 sec. So we talk about the
Mr. Warwag. That's the tune of the previous decade, which I'll have in my mind for till the very end of mine. Unfortunately, I wouldn't like to have it in my mind because Mr. Warwag was always a pain in the ass of me.
Yeah, so we were talking about the music itself, but what about the words and the thing that they are going with? I mean, we have all this Eye of the Tiger, with the tune that you can't give up, you have to go, move on, and so on.
Sorry, but 3 or 4 years ago, we had this song, "Don't Give Up, no." I mean, it doesn't sound as good as Eye of the Tiger, but it's only for me.
Yeah, perfect example. Yeah, but the point is that there were a lot of, I think, more positive, not positively tested, but positive music that was trying to cheer people up. And nowadays, I heard, I was going by the car to work, and I heard the song, I don't really remember the name, but the guy was singing, "I'm so lonely," and so on. Jesus Christ, that was so depressing. And I think that nowadays a lot of the music, a lot of the things that they are singing about is pure depression.
Maybe due to the zeitgeist of the current generation. But if it comes to tunes about depression, about being sad, we can take a look at this timeless song by Tears for Fears, Mad World, and I find this kind of funny, I find this kind of sad. It's also about depression, being sad. Yeah. They also had another good song, Mother's Talk, which is only about, sadness and being unappreciated by family. Looking a bit later, Akon, this song, Lonely, I'm so low. There's so much fucking singing in this podcast, and I'll be really ashamed of myself while listening to that. I'm really apologizing everyone in here. Other tunes about depression and sadness. Metal got developed and got really efficient in 80s, and they started to sing about war and politics and depressions and all that stuff. For example, singing about unhappy love and falling in love is a timeless classic. Songs about love and being rejected are the things that have always existed. Is nowadays music more depression? I can describe it and I can't relate because I'm not seeing it that much. I would say, that is my only personal boomer-like view, I'm really sorry, that music...
We already established that you are a turbo boomer.
Maybe not a turbo, but only a bit. Go away.
I mean, I really did not enjoy XXXTentacion. His music was constant, I'm sad. However,
that's the point.
However, he ended it really sad way. May he rest in peace, as I said it earlier. But I did enjoy that much, and I've never could comprehend what is the thing with this depressional music. Tentacion or maybe Lana Del Rey. I've never could comprehend why the people are so excited about that.
Yeah, trying to understand the psychology of the music, I learned that, it's not like most people, I think that, when you're sad, you listen to the sad song just to feel more sadness in yourself. I think that the many people are tend to listen to sad music during the same state just to better understand the guys that record the song. For example, we have these pretty depression song. Of course, like missing your girlfriend. 1.8L, jak zapomnieć. I bet you know that one. I mean, there is really hard to find someone that doesn't. But the point is that when you have like the neutral state, you are not really happy, not really depressed, and you listen to the song, you're like, I can see that the guy is pretty depressed. And just going neutral about it. But when you are sad and listen to the song, I think you can go like, I can feel that all this sadness. It's so sad that they have to split up and other stuff. So I think with this kind of just let me finish with all this kind of. But first of all. I haven't tell you. Sorry, I had to say it. Yeah. First of all, that what is the point of listening or the point of making this kind of music? This is the question for the yeah. But is it for you to feel better, or is it for audience to also feel like you?
Both.
This is the good
I think
question.
both.
I think both.
First thing is I like to share my feelings with world. Second thing is I'd like to share it in artistic way, because I have artistic soul. I guess if someone creates such a tune, this person has to have artistic soul, I think. And the third is. Maybe there's not third. You want to share it, and you want to share it artistical way due to the fact you like creating something. So you connect those two elements, and you create like the song about depression and sadness. For example, now I came up with idea of reminding you about "Love Will Tear Us Apart" by what was the name of that? Ian Curtis was. I forgot the name of band. It was Ian Curtis that was the leader of this band. Wait, let's Google it. That's the. Very good thing in 2021.
Uncle of all of us. The Uncle Google.
Joy Division, yeah. Joy Division, their timeless classic "Love Will Tear Us Apart" is also about depression and, sadness connected with being rejected by love of... No, actually, Ian Curtis was cheating on his wife and fell in love with other women. So it's about the sadness and depression caused by some love issues. So sometimes songs about depression may become timeless classics.
Okay, so you are saying because all right, I get that. So for example, try to release all this bad emotion and use it by a creative way. I don't have anything against it. Of course, I actually was kind of doing the same thing back in the rap. Everybody got the rap colleague. I was the rap colleague times, and rapper colleague, I gotta say, and I don't have anything against. But you're saying that this guy XXX something XXX. And you are saying that this guy is constantly recording the tracks about depression.
No,
so
he used to be constantly recording. He's been dead for like 2 years.
He used to. All right, but okay. So did he commit suicide, by the way?
No, he was shot. I don't remember if it was in his car or if it was like on the street. I remember his death and Tupac's death are mixing in my head right now. So I don't remember which was shot, which one of them was shot in the car and
Tupac.
which was...
Tupac.
Oh, yeah, he was shot in the car and Tennyson was shot while he was shopping, something like
yeah.
this, or while he was leaving the shop, something like that, but he was shot.
All right. So, do you think that he personally, the guy, was really that depressed that he was going with it every song, or actually was that the mask that he put on during the, let's say, talk with his listeners?
Ah, you mean if it was only his formal look in the world of music? I don't know. I've never gotten that deep in informations about him, but I heard he had quite unpleasant and quite traumatic childhood, so maybe it was not a mask itself. So I think he might have been authentical, but I don't know. That's the thing only his fans can answer, because I've never gotten any deeper into informations about him, so I can tell.
Yeah, if there are any fans of the
Tentacion.
sorry, I'm not the fan. What is it?
XXX
Yeah,
Tentacion.
just let us know. Yeah, let us know in the comments what was the deal with this guy. We talk a little more about the music, but we missed a little bit of the subject, because we wanted to talk about this conflict about boomers and zoomers. So, as we established before, I think that the thing that the zoomers are actually not really living with that the boomers they complaining that the boomers had their good life, and actually this kind of life caused the life they are living it at the moment. That's my point. And well, I gotta say it's pretty complex, because there were a lot of factors that we have to take into consideration, and it's not really that easy to say. What you think?
I mean, you were saying about that our generation complains about boomers' behavior that made the planet this way it's now? You mean that?
Actually, consider us as the boomers, like for the zoomers being from early 2000s.
Okay, maybe my brain is not functioning that good as now. I know I got up from a bed like an hour ago, something like this. No, 70 minutes from now. Yeah. So could you precise your question one more time, please?
Yeah, sure. And I think you have to know that the English is not our first language, so we try our best just to stay focused, to try connect the words with each other. Yeah. So the point I was trying to make that what is causing the conflict between boomers and zoomers, right? So I think we already talked that the boomers hate the way that zoomers are living, because they are convinced that during the day the life was better, or actually there was better but wasn't so easy as the zoomers' life. Right? So they are just back in my day, the life was much harder, right? And what are the zoomers is like answer to it, because the both groups are fighting each other, right?
The point of this eternal quarrel, I mean, that's a quarrel now against zoomers and boomers. In 60 years from now, it will be a quarrel between zoomers and someone else. The point is the difference of a worldview, a difference of perception, and the difference of remembering what was in my youth. For example, boomers, due to the fact in their youth they didn't have that much, let's say, luxury we have now, for them this minimal or maximal living standard is what they had. And now when we have a better situation here in Poland and mainly in the other parts of the world, now when we have a better living standard, better situation than we had like 40 years ago, they can't comprehend that these harder times are gone. They can't understand that they don't have to be suffering that much as they used to. However, this suffering and feeling pain due to the things we don't have to experience today, is like, you know, the maximal living standard that should exist. And due to the fact we have a bigger luxury now and better living standard, maybe they like subconsciously are jealous about that. And maybe subconsciously they are jealous about that and are angry about the fact we have better situation than them. However, they won't tell about this. They won't tell it straightforward that, and maybe they are subconsciously, you know, jealous about the fact we have now a better situation than they used to have, but they don't talk about like straightforwardly. And they call us softer. They call us less worthy as human beings because we don't have to handle that difficult situation as they used to have. They see us as someone inferior in each domain of life because we didn't have to suffer that much as they used to have, and that causes the conflict. They see a current world bad because it's not that hard for a current young people, as hard as they had, and we despise the situation they had. So they glorify the struggle and pain they had, and we disdain the struggle and pain they had. We have our maximal and minimal living standard, and they have their maximal and minimal living standard, and that causes conflicts and quarrels. Most often in the internet, so these quarrels are like, you know, two barking dogs through the like fence. However, we can observe it like every day that younger and older people still have conflicts in the internet. Like even if I turn the Facebook on now and I swipe to the very first post on my feed, I can see like all the people saying that, oh, nowadays kids are softer. Not back in my day, we had to eat bricks for breakfast, and now these soft snowflakes, they eat food.
Post on the Facebook page. Yeah, so first post. Either is the post with the people inside the complaining or arguing with each other. So yeah, so the thing I wanted to ask. So do you think that this point is good? I mean, why should we complain that the younger generation has easier terms of living than we did? I mean, what is the point?
I think maybe that's, as I previously said, all about subconsciousness and about subconsciousness thinking. You know, these people, the nowadays boomers, maybe that's only my thinking. Boomers might be regretting some things that they did not do in youth, that they did not fulfill in youth. And maybe now they are jealous of the fact that we have better possibilities to share our thoughts, our talents. We have better possibilities to get a better job and something like this. And they see and they try to idealize the fact that they didn't gain that much throughout the life. I mean, maybe it sounds existential, kind of depressive. However, that's the point. These people might have not fulfilled all the dreams and all this stuff. And now, while they see we have the chances, they are angry about that and try to tell us that due to the chances we have, we are weaker, softer, and less worthy as human beings than they.
All right, I get it. Okay, listen, because I know we could talk about it for hours and hours, but it's really hard to focus.
I hope what we said made sense.
Yeah. So maybe to summarize, let's go with some, I don't know, maybe a message to all kind of the boomers, the zoomers, and the doomers.
Zoomer and boomer are only terms. A conflict between generations is an eternal thing that will go on and go on. This is something we had 1,000 years ago. This is something we will have in 500 years from now. And zoomers and boomers are only terms. So-called generations war is a thing that will never die, and that has been among the people for like since Adam and Eve. Let's say this way. So Zoomers and Boomers are only terms, and if it comes to differences between the generations, there will always be. There's no way that generations, especially that two generations from each other, there's no way that they would have the same worldview due to the fact that they saw different things, they lived through different things, so they can't have the same point of view and worldview due to the fact they've never experienced that much, and they have experienced different things, so they can't see the world the same way. That's what causes the conflict, I think.
Beautifully said. But for the whole conversation, I think we were talking like the boomer and the zoomer, like for the group of the people that were born in the certain years. Like, but can we think about those as a state of mind?
Those?
Yeah.
Like puppets, like Barbie and all this stuff?
No,
dolls,
I mean yeah, no, I meant the state of mind, like you are a boomer, but you don't have to be born after WW2 or World War II.
This is what you mean, yes.
But you have your mental state and the mental approach for the certain things are just like those people.
Yeah, sometimes mentality can like wander around the people of different age, and maybe somewhere around there, maybe even my neighborhood, there's like 13-year-old girl that has the same state of mind and a worldview as typical 65-year-old grandma. So, I don't know. But usually a certain point of view is a point of view that belongs to a certain generation. Usually. There are always exceptions.
Right, folks. So I guess this is the time we have for today. If you stay till this moment, I guess we salute you.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say.
A long story.
I really appreciate your brave, really,
and the
patience.
Yeah, and hearing us trying to speak English and not read from the card.
I really apologize for all dumb stuff I said. I'm new to podcasts, and But Michael Jackson either has started since the very first then he had like 700 million CDs sold. So
yeah, you had to start something. So don't be too judged about us. We are just students as like you. So thank you. We'll be happy to talk to you in the next podcast. Maybe if you want us to extend the topic about the social groups or these kind of mindsets like doomers, boomers, zoomers, we'll be happy to do that. Let us know. So thank you guys for listening. That was Pablo and Maciek.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Take care and see you next time or hear you next time. Take care.